everyone, Caitlin here, coming here from my children's playroom because I'm trying to hide out while my little man is having a nap. So today we're going to talk about fevers, rashes and asthma. I thought these three topics are really critical and probably a good one to talk about because they're quite common. I get questions when it comes to new parents and when people come in for immunisation clinics. So first we'll start with fevers. So a fever is where the body temp is increased and it is very common in children. It is a natural response to the number of illnesses such as infection. A fever itself usually isn't harmful. It actually is a way of the body showing that the immune system is fighting off an infection. The immune system senses there is an imbalance and releases fighter cells. Then the hypothalamus detects the fighter cells and signals the body to heat up. The heating up makes the internal environment uncomfortable and the infection itself is not unable to multiply. Due to the inexperienced nature of children's bodies, they become hotter quicker and higher than us adults and can result in a febrile convulsion. What can a fever look like? Temperatures over 38 degrees is typically a pretty decent fever. Kids run between 36.5 to 37.5, give or take. If your baby has a fever of 38 degrees and is less than 3 months old, you must, and I emphasize, you must go see a doctor. I would be taking that child to ED if they've got a fever at that age, and it doesn't matter if they don't have any other symptoms. Go get it looked at straight away. You might notice your child might be hot to touch, vomiting, increased sleepiness, in pain, shivering, unwell looking, refusing to drink, irritability, or increased crying. So how can I check a fever? So there's a number of products that you can use to check a fever, and they highly recommend doing the ones under the arm. But I have found that not all these products are equal and you need to do your own research on them. I'll show you what I use at my house. So at home, I use, just getting my products ready. So I use a forehead thermometer. This one's really handy, and depending on the situation you're going to use it for, this is a really quick check kind of one if you want to just check if they feel hot or anything. So this one here is as easy as push of the button. The screen comes up with the temperature on here, and it comes up green for temps are right, yellow for increased temp, and red if there's an issue with it, like an error or something. And all you got to do is place it on the forehead and press the button. And if you can see, it comes up the temp. So that is 37.2. So I'm in all right range. So this one's really handy, especially if the kids don't want to sit still or you just want to do a quick check without irritating them while they're sleeping or something. So the next one I have, and this is my very highly used one, especially in work and when I was working in the hospitals, we use these ones because they're so quick. So I use a Vicks, I think it's called Quick Check or something, and it literally takes 8 seconds. And same as the other one, it changes colour, so it comes up different colours. Typical, put it under your arm, so try and stick it under there and wait the lovely 8 seconds. And then from there, it will give you green for good, yellow for increase, and red for very high. And that's how quick it is. So I'm 36.1 on that one. And that's a normal temp for that kind of stuff. So that's all good. No concerns with that one. So that's a very common one I use if the kids are compliant and I want to double check the forehead one because the forehead one could be environmental, can affect that one. My final one I use, and it's my most favourite one, is a Nurofen Fever Smart. So these are great, especially with the app it has. You download an app on your phone and it's Bluetooth, and it sends from this device to your phone. I think it's every 15 seconds. It sends a temperature report, and it will tell you exactly what temp they are. It reminds you when pain relief is due. It will just remind you what you've been up to, and if you've fallen asleep overnight, which I found this one very good, it actually sends you an alarm to wake up that the kid is having a fever, and I felt like I slept so much better knowing that than me trying to put my kids to bed, especially when they're very little, and worrying, are they alright sleeping? And even if they're right next to me, I'm still very paranoid with that one. So this one, this is the base, so this is the base station of it, and it is very simple. and that's all it is. So it's a little, it looks like a little Z kind of lightning bolt kind of thing. It has little fever pads on it. So that's what touches the skin. So you put a sticky right under their arm, and you put a sticky pad there, and you actually connect it to the sticky pad. And you can leave it there. As long as you don't put them in the shower, they can last, I think you have to charge it every 24 to 48 hours, depending on how much you're using the app and everything and putting all those signals from. So from the device to the base station, it's 1.5 meters. So you put that in the kids' bedroom. And then to your phone, I had full range of our house for it, so I could walk around and still know exactly what they're up to. And you can put things like symptoms, if they're irritable, if they've drunken, if they've eaten, you can put the whole lot in. So when you go to the doctors, you're able to say, this is fully what I've done, I've given this medication, I've done this is what the temp's been like, and it's consistently staying like that. So I highly, highly recommend this. This is amazing, this device. I got it with my first, and I've used it, especially post-immunisations when they've had that fever, and I was a bit concerned or uneasy about it. I've used it, it's about 24 hours. And after that, once I had a good temp for a good couple of hours, I took them off. So it was very good. I'd love to show you, but my app's not working at the moment because it needs to have an update done on it. But the app, you can have multiple children, you can go between them. You can only have one device per child on, but it will keep the back history of previous episodes that you used it for. So that's very handy in that sense. Okay, so how can you help a fever? Well, it's good to offer small amounts of water, and that's regular small amounts. Do not stress about eating. The absorption of food during this time can be misinterpreted and cause allergens, so the body can react to this food. So don't stress if they're not eating, but drinking is critical. If they're still wearing nappies, so younger kids, so check their output, check how much wheeze, because they could be becoming dehydrated. In that sense, you want to keep offering that fluid to them. So if they're still breastfed or formula fed, give them an extra feed or have smaller, regular feeds, just so you can make sure they're still getting enough and they're staying alert and staying hydrated. Do not, I repeat, do not put them in a cold bath or a cold shower. This can make the fever worse. So it can cause them to shiver, resulting in the body heating up again. You can wipe their head with a cold, slightly cool flannel, with a face washer and all that kind of stuff. But that is just more for comfort. I wouldn't stress about trying to cool them down in that sense, because it will do damage to what you're actually doing. If your child has a fever greater than 3 days, then I'll get them checked out of the doctor, as most viral ones shouldn't last more than 3 days. It is not advised to give Panadol or Brufen, as it can, even though it helps reduce the fever, but it can also prolong their sickness of it. So if the child is, however, distressed, miserable, or in pain, then I would give it just to keep them comfortable. But if your main focus is based on the fever, then I would definitely not be giving it, because you want to ride this fever out as long as you can. Okay, so next topic is rashes. Rashes is a tricky topic, and it can be quite distressing for parents, especially with young babies or first-time parents like I was. I was very anxious every time there was a spot or something came up with my children. Rashes can be caused by viral infections, and they are very common, and a lot of them are harmless and they'll go away in their own time. It's good to get to know what type of rashes they are and what they look like. So I highly recommend the resource of the Royal Children's Hospital. They have a great resource on rashes, and they go through all that kind of stuff. So examples of childhood rashes, so chickenpox, so everyone knows about chickenpox, hand, foot and mouth disease, measles, slap cheek, and mocillum, and that's a common kind of rash, but it's very benign. Rosella infectum, I can never say these two right, but they're quite mild rashes and very common rashes, and they don't need any treatment. You want to make sure that you're showering instead of using bath, because the bacteria of them can actually keep affecting the skin if they're bathing in it. And that was only just to name a few. There is so many rashes out there. So often viral infections, like I said, causes rashes, but they also cause fever. So rashes and fevers can come together. If you're concerned that your child has measles, go see a doctor straight away. If their fever and rash has, if they have a fever and they have rash, and they don't have like the blanching, they don't have the blanching happening, and I'll explain that one in a sec. I would go see emergency medical care ASAP just to cover your bases. So what I mean by blanching, a good way to realise of it, you can do it with a cup, a glass thing, something that's clear, and you want to be able to put pressure. You can do it with your finger, but I feel like you can't see it well enough. So say there's a rash on the arm kind of thing, grab a bottle and you roll it over it, and as you roll over it, if the rash disappears, that's a good sign. But if you're doing that and that rash is still there, go get medical help. Go get it checked out, no matter what, okay? That's just a simple way. If you don't have glass, literally just put pressure on it and let it disappear, okay? And see what happens with it. So, finally, my final topic, and I'm sorry I talk very fast, so I'm trying to slow down my talking. But my final topic in regards to the really important rashes and fevers is asthma. My son personally suffers from asthma, and I thought it was something I really want people to know about, and I want people to have the knowledge to get it checked out if they're concerned with it. When it comes to asthma, it is a common condition, and it causes a narrowing of the small air passages in the lungs. The narrowing can be caused by inflammation, swelling, or increased mucus production. Around 1 in 5 kids are actually diagnosed with childhood asthma, and that's quite scary for it, especially if you don't know what it is. So common signs of asthma is wheezing in babies or toddlers, but not all children who demonstrate wheezing can go on to development asthma. Okay. So signs and symptoms of asthma, so breathing problems, you're seeing them struggling to catch their breath, the tightness in the chest, wheezing and coughing. There can be different examples of it, but you know your child best, so you'll see if there's a difference change in their breathing. And if they're really struggling to breath, they've got increased breathing, go get it checked out because it's such a critical area. I would definitely go get my child checked out anytime they have issues with breathing. In the event that the child is struggling and become distressed, exhausted, and they can even go limp, that's when it gets scary. So I'll be calling an ambulance if that was happening to me. So you may also see deep sucking movements in the throat and in the chest. So the chest, you can see the ribs. It's called a rib recession, and you see the ribs really sucking, ribs coming in and everything else, it's sucking inwards, so it's really deep for it. So the throat is like a tracheal tug kind of thing, and it's really, really obvious. Once you see it, you don't unsee it after that one. Okay, so what can cause asthma? Asthma can be caused by exercise, change in the weather, even windy conditions. And with the weather we've had here, it's been so cold, it's been so wet, and it's been so windy. My son has had a horrible last 2 nights, and he's just not able to breathe, that we end up going to the doctors because nothing was working. His medication was not working, so went downhill very quickly. Other things like dust mites can be another issue, pollen or pets. So avoid smoking around people with asthma, and that includes changing your clothes, the furniture. Don't smoke inside because these can all be triggers, and it can cause a lot of distress for families knowing that this is going to be a trigger. So get a bit of anxiety when it comes to that kind of stuff. Go see your doctor if your child is having any breathing problems, because the treatment of asthma can include different medications. So they start off with relievers, and then they go with preventers, controllers, and there's all different brands and categories within these kind of things. So I'll show what my son's on. So this is his preventer. So he's meant to do this once a day. He's very not compliant with these kind of ones. He's not a fan of these puffers, but we do this once a day, and he does have good track record with these ones. And then we went for a little bit of a lapse with that one. The next one is, and it's very common, people know this one quite well, is the Ventolin. So the Ventolin, this is his reliever, and he uses a kid's mask. So we have 3 different styles of it. This is probably, sorry, feet going numb. So this is probably the biggest one I have for him. The other 2 are at where he goes to childcare. They're a simple
You can use it multiple ways. You've got just a face mask that you can put on it, and that one doesn't work the greatest because the stuff comes out, but it's just as an idea. You've got the general kind of spacer, and he can put his mouth on that, or you can put it all together like that one. We do, ideally they do 4 kind of things, 2 to 4 kind of stuff. We go up to 6 just because of how severe his can get, and especially at the worst of it. Or you can go straight into doing it to the mouth, but with a 3-year-old, not compliant in that kind of sense, so it makes it very difficult. So for that, that's a wrap. Pretty much that's today's topics, and I hope this was helpful information. As a reminder, if you have any concerns with your children, go get it checked out by a doctor. Do not delay, because delay can be disastrous. You don't know what could have been avoided in that time frame, and I'll hate for you to regret anything you do. So trust your instinct and go get it checked out. Okay? Until next time. Bye.